with John Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FANation? John Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook live show. Monday's here. Got ourselves a nice 7-game main slate. Sir Grande was on your NBA DFS Playbook today, and if you were in the Discord, you got a lot of his news and notes in there, which are also in that playbook. Got his live reactions to players being ruled out tonight, notably Kyrie Irving ruled out for the Dallas Mavericks.
Who's the cover of my playbook?
I saw, and then you had to make a swap. Gonna have to change the playbook. No Kyrie Irving, no Luka Doncic tonight, no Najee Marshall, who was the highest usage rate player with Luka and Irving off the floor. Those three out tonight, going up against the Sacramento Kings, who can't play defense, that fired their coach. They're at home. That's a 10 p.m. late night. We got 3 late night hammer games, 10 p.m. slate rocking away. So if your early lines don't look good, fear not. James and I will see you in the late slate builds. We'll be there most likely throwing some late slate 3-game lineups together as well with all of you. But it's certainly an interesting slate. You go look at the ownership, and we'll get that updated on site here shortly after the show. Everybody's playing Dallas. Everybody's playing all the Charlotte value. And then that is leading them to also spend up for Nikola Jokic because, well, if you have the money, why not, right? Spend for the guy that has a 90, 100 fantasy point ceiling.
90, 100 is a good word to describe. I actually, for all those that, I'll give you a sneak peek of what I wrote for Nikola Jokic today in the playbook, John.
Does it play him?
I wrote, no, I'm not you. I will include a few more words.
Okay.
Not many. I put 1.9. What's 1.9, you ask? That's Nikola Jokic fantasy point per minute without Aaron Gordon this year.
It's pretty decent.
It's like a 500-minute sample. 1.9 and 500 minutes.
What is it with Aaron Gordon on the floor? Is it 1.7? I mean, like
it's still great, but like 1 point. I mean, dude, that is just
no, it's insane. It's one of the highest use. I think that's one of the highest fantasy point per minute outputs we've ever seen. Have we ever had anybody over 2?
For that window of minutes? No.
Right?
No.
Yeah. So that's pretty wild. So
but if he goes for 100 tonight, then we'll be there. We might be close.
In Utah tonight, no John Collins on their side. We are waiting on some official injury news still to come down. Jalen Brunson popped up as questionable for today. We're assuming, obviously, the Charlotte guys are out. They're listed as doubtful, but not officially ruled out yet. Joel Embiid was questionable?
Yeah, he's questionable.
So we'll see whether or not he suits up against Portland again. That's a late game, so we may not know that information until within the slate here. Again, we will get the Knicks news because if Jordan Poole, Jalen Brunson, if they end up being ruled out of that game, certainly will change up some of the rotations and maybe even add more value to this slate here. So. Again, we got the Bulls. They're missing some players as well. Io's out of that game. Maybe no Jalen Smith. Is this a probable tag? Probable tag on Zach LaVine there. So
yeah, him and Giddey both probable.
Yeah. So we'll break it all down. Hopefully, we'll get some news updates while we're live on the show. We do appreciate all of you who have tuned in. Our guy Justin saying get in that Discord. Listen, if you're already a member of the Fantasy Alarm family, you get access to our premium Discord channel. So if you're watching this and you're saying, hey, I'm not in that Discord, or hey, I don't see the premium NBA DFS and betting channel. Message us in general chat, shoot us a tweet, get us on the support email support. We'll get you in that Discord and get you guys ready to go. If you're not yet a member of the Fantasy Alarm family, we have our 7-day free trial going on along with our holiday sale. 50% off for 2025. That's $19.98 a month for the entire 2025 calendar year. That gets you access to all content, all tools, all products, Discord, you name it, for just $19.98 a month. That is 50% off our monthly price for the year. If you can cancel, you can cancel at any time, but if you were to go re-up after you canceled, it goes back to full price. It's $39.97. So take advantage of this. Get the whole next year for 50% off all the way through the new year. So you get your draft guides for NFL, draft guides for MLB. I threw a sneak peek of the MLB draft guide cover in the Discord and on Twitter here today. So that's coming down the pipeline. So Plenty of reasons to join the family. Scan that QR code or go to fantasyalarm.com/holiday. Promo code FA holiday automatically uploads. You just got to hit add code and then sign up, and you'll get that offer applied to your account. Grande, you ready to talk some basketball tonight?
Let's get it.
All right. Point guard position. Healthy point guards. James Harden, $9,100. Steph Curry, $9K. You have De'Aaron Fox now in that matchup without Kyrie Irving. Got Tyrese Maxey against Portland. DeJounte Murray against the Clippers. Maybe Jalen Brunson after he scored 55 actual against his Wizards team last game out at $8,400. Those are your 8K and above point guards. How has the Irving news changed? Because last night we were like all in Kyrie Irving, $8,900. What's your thoughts now, spending up at the point guard position?
Yeah, it's annoying. No one is playing Kyrie today, and I was like, "Oh, I'll be brave."
Yeah,
and I will play Kyrie Irving without Luka. I will be the brave soul out there. Yeah, I mean, nothing's changed. Like, I still like a lot of these guys around him. I think Harden has, GPP winning upside. Steph, you can always play in large field stuff. The minutes for Golden State in general are on the rise. If we talked a lot about Steph's minutes earlier in the year. 35, 34, 35, 36, 35 minutes for Steph Curry the last 4. So you could definitely play him. Fox, that game was 3.5 pre-Kyrie news. It's now a 6.5 point spread. It's gone down from a 230.5 where it opened to 225. So things are shifting rather quickly. I'm good with De'Aaron Fox. You talked about firing the coach. There was literal De'Aaron Fox tweets today about Lou Williams reporting on that FanDuel show that he has.
Yeah.
How all of it being fake news and stuff. And so De'Aaron Fox, fire under his belly for tonight after all this weird stuff going on with the Kings. They're a nightmare. They're a mess. GM and owner still haven't talked about it. Like, it's just, but Fox, he's been really good. I put in the playbook 33+% usage in each of the last 2 games. So if you're going to get that version of De'Aaron Fox, I'd play him against just about anybody.
Sure.
Tyrese Maxey has a ceiling, obviously. And, we talk about all the time, like, who's playing minutes? This guy is playing a lot of minutes, 41 in 3 straight games. The scoring is outrageous. The peripheral stats have been great. And, we've kind of talked about, like, I think there is a ceiling for rebounds. Like, he's done this twice where he's had double-digit rebounds. Embiid's not rebounding. So I like Maxey in tournaments. DeJounte is I'm indifferent about. You can always play him. The Brunson stuff is interesting because the Knicks are going to play their guys, right? And no matter what. And I think you have to understand that just because Washington kept it close last game does not mean they're going to keep it close this game. It doesn't. It doesn't. Kyle Kuzma can come right back and take 20 shots and shoot them right out of this game faster than, we even had a chance to blink. And then, like, you're not going to get max minutes out of Brunson. But if Washington were to keep this semi-competitive, Tibbs, if it's under 20, like if it's 19, Tibbs is like, cool, like there's like, he's like shivering, like, oh, it's too close. Got to keep the starters in. So I'm good with Brunson. A little indifferent. Obviously, I've told you I think he plays questionable tag or not. I could obviously be wrong. He played through it last time. Maybe scoring 55 put a little more strain on the.
You don't need him against the Wizards. Like, we'll give him a day.
Yeah, and obviously, like, the burden that he had to carry the other day just to get them to beat the Wizards in overtime. But I don't suspect this game would be as competitive as last time. We don't know about Jordan Poole. We got the downgrade to Alex Sarr in the middle of the day. He's questionable. So, like, just things that aren't trending in the right direction for Washington. Then you put Kyle Kuzma in the middle, who I don't think any, like, negative feelings about Kyle Kuzma when he's going well, but when he's going poorly, I mean, he will just ruin this offense. So I like Brunson for tournaments. But I feel like if you're playing Brunson, you want something back on Washington because, that means you think this game's going to stay close. Also, nothing on Washington's over 1% roster tonight. Just keep that in mind. And that's
Star
until
gets ruled out.
I'm sure if
Valanciunas
Star is
starts, and
ruled
then,
out.
people apply Valanciunas.
Yes, then he's 90. Then Valanciunas is 90%.
Yep. Jamal Murray's a popular play here today. $7,700, back-to-back 50 bombs, 49 2 games prior to that, 51 against Portland. He's on one of those runs right now for him. You get him against Utah. Again, Utah offensively and defensively. Offensively, they certainly have, guys like Sexton, and they have Jordan Clarkson, they have Lauri Markkanen. They're 7.5-point home underdogs tonight, but it is still a 239 total. So, at some point this game probably gets a little out of hand, but if they do, it's likely Murray and Jokic doing the damage here. So
I'm not necessarily convinced it does, only because Denver's defense has been terrible. I mean, they literally let the Pistons second unit get back in that game the other day where they had to put all the starters in. Denver's offense is as good as anyone's, but they just have had trouble stopping people. That's my favorite game on the board. I am not going to have a lot of negative things to say here. Murray, 25% usage or better in 5 of the last 6 games. 25% usage, 1.1 fantasy points per minute without Aaron Gordon this year. It's great spot.
Mid-tier gives us obviously the Bulls guards. So you have some more Denver plays in this range. Getting Anthony Simons, the Utah guards are over here. We talked a little extensively on the Giddey play last night. He's $6,900. What do you make of Chicago here tonight? I mean, sports books and even some projections, even with no LaMelo, no Brandon Miller, thinking this game might stay competitive and high scoring. Got to bode well for Giddey here then, right?
Yeah, I mean, no one's playing them. And I get it. When Kyrie got ruled out, everyone just flocked to Dallas. You saw IC through you a few comments ago, didn't wait to the moon. And he's not wrong, but nobody's playing Chicago because everyone just flocked to Dallas. I do think Josh Giddey is a very interesting tournament play if he's going to close. And you and I had the conversation on the pre-show, but just for those that weren't able to catch the pre-show that we do Monday through Friday every night, and you can catch it all day, obviously. And then we're here live Monday through Friday as well. Josh Giddey asked Billy Donovan, what do I have to do to close? And Billy Donovan said, play defense. And Josh Giddey said, all right. And then, Ayo Dosunmu also got hurt. So that's helped him stay on the floor. But 29 minutes in the closing lineup, triple-double for Josh Giddey. If no one's going to play him, there is a massive, massive ceiling. And for example, right? Everyone's playing Russell Westbrook tonight, John. $6,300, point guard only, Russell Westbrook in a great spot.
Yeah.
I don't think that Russell Westbrook looks, other than the price tag and the game is great, obviously. I don't think he looks better than Josh Giddey.
Right.
Giddey is gonna have the ball in his hands more. At this point, I think Josh Giddey has shown to be a better rebounder, or at least more consistent. So for $600, if that's something that you're interested in, looking for some leverage on the field, going from Westbrook to Giddey, I think makes a lot of sense. Now, obviously Westbrook's cheaper. I just mentioned, there is you mentioned it, 239 implied total. This is my favorite game on the board. Not even close. If this game's competitive, there's going to be 280 points scored in it. It's just going to be all offense all the time. So I get why you'd want to get to Westbrook. The minutes are good. The peripheral stats are good. The scoring just hasn't been there. And if you get the scoring, he's going to go for 50 fantasy points. So I get the Westbrook play. I also think that there is leverage going to someone like Giddey, going to someone like Darius Garland at 7,100. Playing if Portland's shorthanded because we have all that 10 p.m. news, waiting out to see if you want to get a Simons or Shaden Sharp or something like that, right? So I think there's a lot of different routes you can go if you're looking to get off of a really chalky Russell Westbrook, which again, I think is
George
also fine.
On the other side of that matchup for you. He's upgraded to probable. He's $5,700. We've talked obviously Clarkson and Sexton the last few slates, but 3 of the previous 4 games for Keontae George, he went for 40 plus. Are you more in on Keontae George being active tonight in this spot on the other side of that matchup?
Yeah, I'm not against it. I think Keontae George, if you guys have watched the show, you and I talk a lot about him. He's been I would say the one Utah Jazz, him and Markkanen probably have been the two guys that have never like lost minutes, right? Like Will Hardy always takes minutes from Kessler. Colin Sexton, number one target to lose minutes. It's never Keontae George, and it's never really the guy that they paid $200 million in Larry Markkanen. So, yeah, I mean, he missed 4 games. I don't expect if there is any like limit that it'd be like a severe one. Yeah, I would say that he isn't my favorite Utah guard play of the day, but he's
bearing the lead a little bit. Obviously, the value plays not as cheap as they've been in the past. But Spencer Dinwiddie is $5,200. Vasily Micic is $46. Everybody is playing Vasily Micic tonight at $4,600 in this matchup against Chicago. But Dinwiddie is in a good spot now. You put in the Discord, you highlighted the last game where there was no Irving and there was no Luka Doncic. There was Najee Marshall. There wasn't any Jaden Hardy. Jaden Hardy's pops with a 30% usage rate with no Marshall, no Luka and Irving off the floor here. Is this a Jaden Hardy game, or do we just go with Spencer Dinwiddie who's going to start?
To your Micic ownership point, Dinwiddie's right there too. Like they're both they're going to be the 2 highest rostered plays. I think most lineups probably just start Micic, Dinwiddie. That's where a lot of it's going to start. There's obviously a case to be made. I think Dinwiddie's minutes are more secure. I'm fairly confident that we get like end of the night. If Dallas Sacramento is at all competitive, Spencer Dinwiddie's near 40 minutes. And I know Jaden Hardy's there, but their 3 primary ball handlers are off the floor, right? And we've seen this like during that long stretch when Luka was out earlier in the year, like they were going to Najee as their secondary ball handler, right? And now he's not there. So Dinwiddie's just going to play. I think Jaden Hardy is their backup ball handler. If I'm ranking between Dinwiddie and Micic, I probably give Dinwiddie the slight edge. I know the matchup for Micic is a little better. I shouldn't say a little better. It's definitely better, but I just don't feel as confident with the minutes. I mean, we've seen in situations where we thought Vasily Micic was going to play, has been playing all these minutes, for what reason did he not play those minutes anymore? And like anytime someone's been out, really Spencer Dinwiddie's been locked into minutes. And I, like you mentioned, I did post it in the Discord earlier. Dude, he played 37 minutes in that game against the Clippers. It was December 19th. Dallas lost by 23 points, right? 23 points. No Luka, no Kyrie. He played 37 minutes and lost 3 minutes to garbage time. 3 minutes to garbage. He was playing. He was going to play those 3 minutes. You would have gotten 40 minutes out of Spencer Dinwiddie. I have a hard time believing that with the way he's played and with what we saw when they were out, that's not going to be the case again. So cash game builds, single entry builds, tournament builds, I'm starting with Dinwiddie. I feel confident with Micic. All I'm saying is I don't feel as confident with the minutes that I do with Spencer Dinwiddie.
What are your thoughts on Jaden Hardy here tonight?
My thoughts are, and I think this is interesting. So like when you look at ownership and you look at some of the minute projections, I gave Jaden Hardy like 22 and a half. I had originally gone up to like 24 and I kind of peeled back to like 22 and a half. But when you look at like this price range, I would rather play Jaden Hardy at no ownership and just take a flyer on him than like a Chris Dunn who's getting a bunch of ownership who doesn't shoot the basketball, right? Where like I know Jaden Hardy, if he's playing 22 and a half minutes, he's going to take
30% usage rate is nothing to scoff at here.
That's huge. That is an elite player's usage rate, and it's a 10% bump. Leader of the team, like, and the fantasy points per minute, 1.1. Like those are all elite numbers. So like if I were choosing between like someone like that, Chris Dunn, last player in, Chris Dunn, Jaden Hardy, I would just pick Jaden Hardy and hope one, he comes on the floor and he lights it up and plays himself into more time.
Very live
Because
to
I think
happen, right?
with
Like if Grimes
very
gets off
live,
to, like a
very,
slow start
very,
or something, like
dude, incredibly live to happen. Like they could just go away from Kleba extra minutes off the bench, right? Like there's a lot of scenarios where Jaden Hardy can come in. There's also a scenario where he comes in and misses everything and he just doesn't play, right? But at least I know in those minutes he's going down firing. Where like Chris Dunn, 16%, 18, well, 17, whatever the heck the number is, it's basically 15x of what Hardy's ownership. I'm not confident even in 30 minutes Chris Dunn's going to be doing.
Would you
the
rather
same thing
KPJ or Jaden Hardy tonight?
It's a good question. I definitely feel better about the KPJ minutes. Are we like Dallas is good? Like Dallas is really deep. I think that's what like leads me to believe they can stay competitive in this game.
Yeah, that's sick. They're getting 6.5 now on the road. I will say I'm a little surprised the Clippers are only giving 4.5. I get they're on the road as well, but the majority of like the bets here are on the Clippers side. But I would have expected the way they've played, and I get the Pelicans are healthier now, but I mean they still aren't winning basketball games. Like the Clippers would have been a bit more of a favorite here.
The Clippers just don't also score a lot.
Oh, don't tell that Norm Powell.
Like they haven't. Well,
Norm
and like obviously if Harden goes off, but like they are without Kawhi. Like they're a.
Well, when we talked last night, we thought maybe there was a chance the Clippers would be bigger favorites, and you get Kevin Porter Jr. blowout run, right? Because that's where he makes his hay. If this is gonna be a 4-point game, then he's not gonna get those final 8 minutes, of garbage time,
Yeah, and he still like doesn't need a lot. I mean, you saw last time we saw him play before the illness. He played 20 minutes. He had almost 30 fantasy points. So like he still has the ceiling. I'd say I'd probably just take the savings for Hardy at lower ownership too, because Kevin Porter is still getting ownership. That's something you and I had discussed, that Dunn or Porter would get ownership, and both of them are getting a decent amount. So I would probably take a shot on Hardy.
I see through you wants to know thoughts on Lonzo.
Okay. Indifferent. He's good on a per minute basis. What the minutes don't seem to be like going to.
Does Fee play tonight? Keontae's back. Clarkson, Jordan.
No, he DMP'd last game. Josh, I'd have a hard time. I know. Like you look at the minutes, you're like, oh, 25. He did not play a singular minute last game, so.
But you kind of wish DraftKings could just show the zero.
Yes, that is a good thing that FanDuel does, where you can just see the flow of games.
And then the other one here was McBride. If there's no Brunson tonight, expectations are that Miles McBride would be the starting point guard. If that ends up coming through, he's cheaper than everybody.
Yeah.
Who loses ownership, I guess? Or do you think everybody just goes Dinwiddie, Vasily, McBride?
Just the three.
Just plug the three.
I don't know, because you're getting 45 minutes of Deuce McBride in that scenario. He's playing 40 minutes. We saw this time and time again last year. He plays all the minutes when Brunson's out.
I mean, he's been playing a ton of minutes just off their bench generally anyway.
Right.
So,
just be ready for this. I'm fully aware for this to happen. We're going to get the Thibodeau update. Jalen Brunson's going to go through pregame warm-up, and then he's going to play. So I'm just prepared for that mentally.
And then we had Shampenny or Dinwiddie tonight with Poole out. Now you're going to go Dinwiddie.
Oh, Dinwiddie. Yeah.
It's fine even if you're already playing Hardy. I would still just play Dinwiddie. Shampenny's not going to 30-point double with Kuzma back. So Shampenny might not even be in the starting lineup with Kuzma back. So there's that chance.
Yeah. Koulibaly, Kuzma, Brogdon, Sar. I'll put Sar in there. If Poole plays, Poole.
If not, Carrington would probably start a point guard.
Carrington, if not. Yeah, Carrington.
I don't know if Shampenny's in the starting lineup with Kuzma. So
I guess two of Brogdon, Carrington.
Yeah, Brady and Brogdon. Yeah, so
two of those guys.
I think Shampenny's been playing due to the Kuzma absence. Kuzma back. I don't think Shampenny starts, but we'll see. Shooting guard. I mentioned on the show last night, like, I love Donovan Mitchell, $8,200. Didn't make sense that he was this cheap. Nobody's playing Cleveland, as you said. So you're going to give me a 3%, 2%, 5% roster Donovan Mitchell tonight. Josh Giddey officially active. We are getting some Bulls news here. We're getting low roster Donovan Mitchell. When he plays minutes, he goes for 50 plus. He only played 30 against Denver and gave you 51. It's supposed to be a close game tonight against Golden State. 8,200, the cheapest he's pretty much been all season long. Again, I get there's a lot of guards to play tonight, but Donnie Mitch got 60 in the bag here. I like this play.
Yeah, I mean, he's just such a high usage guy who gets up for big games. I listed all of like the big profile games he's played lately. Denver twice, Celtics, Bucks, 76ers, 29% usage or more. He had
second highest game total on the board.
Second highest game total on the board. If you remember, maybe people are scared. Cleveland beat him by like 50 at home earlier in the year, where they just played like half. And we've talked about this too. Cleveland's boat racing everybody.
Yeah,
everybody.
They run through everybody.
They are legitimately a wagon right now. But I don't disagree. Like, if no one's gonna play, the price, he's $1,000 too cheap for the player that he is.
Yeah, he came at 91 this year, it looks like. He was as low as 81. So he's been down here before because, again, early in the season, like, they just didn't need him to go off. But
John, got some news here. Zach LaVine is now questionable.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about that, right? Like, probable, now questionable.
Ooh, that is we're about to lose a lot of guard. There's a lot of guard spots being consumed right now because
Kobe White would just be an instant plug.
Shooting guard. We're at shooting guard. You mean it's hard. So yeah, Jalen Smith is in. So, like, we're not going to see Vooch play 38, but we're going to see Kobe White and Josh Giddey absorb all the guard minutes. And circling back to IC3 about Lonzo, you would see Lonzo's little uptick in minutes too. So yeah, I mean,
Vooch also, though, usage bump without LaVine gets Charlotte matchup. I mean,
yeah, I'm not against it, but we just saw like
LaVine out. That was quick.
Oh my god,
that was quick.
Okay, that was very aggressive. They're just screaming at us, like, dude, they're
from
not
probable to out just like that.
Oh my god. All right, so
didn't I just say that line was suspicious right before we went on? I was like, why aren't the Bulls a bit more favored against Charlotte? Charlotte's missing LaMelo.
Weird.
They're missing Brandon Miller. We talked about it. And no, I guess if they knew LaVine wasn't going to play, that's why Vegas is smarter than us, right? Like,
so just for number's sake, Kobe White with no LaVine Dosunmu. Kobe White gets the biggest usage bump, about 6%. 1.1 fantasy points per minute.
Yeah, we just did this game the other day against Atlanta, right? I mean,
plug and play. Have to, like, your plug and play, safe in all formats. Josh Giddey, John. No LaVine, no Dosunmu. 1.5 fantasy points per minute.
Our boy's about to be the highest rostered player on the slate.
Lonzo, 1.3 fantasy points per minute.
What do you think the minutes cap is on him? He hasn't played more than 20 yet.
He's played 23. He got into 23. So 20 into the 20s.
25?
Yeah, into low 20s. But, like, if you're asking me Lonzo versus...
I mean, Lonzo's $3,900. So you just talked Hardy. Like, our guy, MD, was like, I already got Hardy in the lineup. Are you now playing Lonzo or Hardy tonight?
I guess it's tough because the Bulls have also dusted off Javon Carter lately. So I know that only one game, but he also then played a rotation against the Bucks. So, like,
and he knocked out 7 threes.
Those 6 minutes, are those 6 minutes possibly now shifting back to, like, can Lonzo absorb some of those? Can Lonzo take some of those? So I'm not against it. I just think, like, if we're talking Bulls, Giddey and Kobe White are clearly the priorities, and then like Vooch is fine, and Lonzo in tournaments, and
I mean, I actually
Patrick
agree.
Williams.
I think Vooch is almost more than fine.
Yes. I think he's fine. My only thing is we saw 38 minutes out of him without Jalen Smith that I don't think we see with Jalen Smith.
Okay.
I don't think you get 38-minute Vooch where you get like mid-30s. And mid-30s is fine. I'm not saying he's a bad play. I also think if there was no cap on minutes, I would, then I would be like, oh, he's as good as any other center on the board.
Yeah. All right, so that's huge news there. Obviously, again, Kobe White, $6,500, and Giddey as point guard only in that $6,900 range. We'll get the updated ownership again after the show, but I would imagine we'll see some drastic movement here to the Bulls side. Everybody was playing Charlotte already. Yep. I mean, does that kind of just kill the rest of this player pool for you then? I mean, we obviously Donovan Mitchell, I still like, but there's Norm Powell here. There's Malik Monk, Trey Murphy, Sexton. You mentioned Clarkson was probably your favorite shooting guard on the board today. Like, are you Shaedon Sharp 6K? Like, are those guys just all nuked now because you got to play a Kobe White, you got to play a Josh Giddey, and you got to play a Dinwiddie? There's your three guards today.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, and then we're gonna talk about like it's easier with like some of the other Dallas wings because they have small forward eligibility, but like they also have the shooting guard eligibility as well. Yeah, I mean, to your Donovan Mitchell point, he's going to be lower owned than he even was. He's at 9%. I'm imagining Donovan Mitchell's 9% becomes 5%.
Yeah,
just because the field is going to shift.
Nobody's
to Kobe
spending
White.
up in guard today. They're all just spending up for Joker.
Yeah, it's just Joker's gonna end up being the highest roster player of the slate, easily.
For your spend ups.
Yeah, for your spend ups, and it might end up just being a double where you can like play two centers or two spend ups. Not that there's a lot of spend ups, but I largely agree. I mean, you can play Donovan Mitchell; he's great. You can play Jamal Murray, multi-position eligibility. If Poole plays, maybe it's a pool party day. Norm,
it kills Westbrook.
It hurts Westbrook. Yes, maybe a situation where
I could see Murray and Westbrook ownership going down.
Definitely Westbrook because he doesn't have the eligibility that Murray and Kobe White have.
Sure.
Right? Because Westbrook only has the point guard eligibility. Jamal Murray, they gave multi-position eligibility. Kobe White, you could play both guard spots. So, yeah, it nukes a lot of that stuff. Like, I liked Mikal Bridges, 62. I only really because of the minutes. I mean, Mikal Bridges has played 41 plus minutes in 5 straight games. If you're going to tell me someone's going to play 41 plus minutes,
if they rule Brunson out, man, I don't know.
Yeah, Knicks here. Yeah, well, fortunately, you can play a lot of the Knicks. All the Knicks are like forward. Man, McBride is obviously the priority for me. I think Vasa Micic would probably become the odd man out, only because I'd be more sure about everyone else's minutes.
Okay. Chris had a question. Chris, maybe you had missed it. We discussed a little Champagny like a minute or two ago. Got to see if he's even in the starting lineup tonight with Kuzma back. He could be the odd man out with Kuzma back in the lineup. Unlikely he is going 30 and 10 again. So, just kind of keep that. I do like Kuminga, but I don't know much. I don't know if I like Martin as much. So what are your thoughts there? Do you rather Draymond and Champagny or Kuminga and Cody Martin?
It would be the second one. Yeah. I'd say I'd probably be okay with the first one if we get Sarr and Jordan Poole out and Champagny starting. Yeah.
Fair.
Because I wrote Draymond. I wrote both those Warriors up. I like Draymond. I like the price on FanDuel is really nice. The price on DraftKings is nice too, but I wrote both those Warriors up.
Yep. Okay. Anything else we got going on here at the shooting guard position for you?
We'll talk Dallas at small forward since they just got cannibalized here at shooting guard and guard. Like they're.
Are you still playing Clarkson? I guess.
In situations where if I want to like get a game stack, Clarkson's definitely fine. He's not going to start anymore. I assume he plays. I assume he goes back to the bench with Keontae George back, but going off the bench.
Didn't they play 3 guards without Collins?
Yeah, I wonder what they do. They started Cody Williams the last couple of games.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if they want to. We'll see what their decision is. Whether we've seen Clarkson start a couple times, we've seen him come off the bench a lot. So who knows? I don't have a preference. He's gonna play 30 minutes regardless. Like when he comes off the bench or starts, like it just is what it is.
Again, a lot of the shooting guard value we kind of discussed already, and we're more so in the mid tier.
Yeah,
let's jump on over to small forward.
Yeah, just one comment.
Okay.
On Seth Curry, that would be the one talking point.
Does he play minutes tonight?
I am super worried. Obviously, the ownership has gone away. Whew. Okay, good. Don't have you to talk about him. His ownership went away. I don't even want to talk about him anymore.
Okay. All right, small forward then, and once we get the update on the Chicago news, we'll have that. We'll have that for you. The interesting news there with Levine being ruled out. So your small forwards, and as Power mentioned, 6,000 guards and 6 forwards for tonight's slate. Where are you looking to go at small forward tonight?
So I like Larry Markkinen, and it's more John Collins related than anything. It's the Keontae stuff isn't that big of a deal. No John Collins this year. Larry Markkinen, 27.5% usage, which is a 3.5% bump, 1.1 fantasy points per minute. So it only goes up another percentage without Keontae. So I like Larry Markkinen. I like the game. I like the spot. You know my feelings. I also like that they're not starting Peyton Watson for Larry Markkinen, right? Sure. I think that is like a very good thing because there's no Aaron Gordon. There's Peyton Watson's not starting. That's a lot of minutes against someone who's not good defensively. So I like Markkinen. Love Josh Hart in tournaments. But that's my sentiment at all times with Josh Hart. Love him in tournaments.
Probably better if Brunson sits, right?
Doesn't matter. I think it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't. It's funny. I wrote in the playbook, like, surprise, surprise. He's the lowest owned of the 3. Even and the prices are coming closer and closer. And he's the lowest owned. He's the one of 3 between him, Bridges, and Anunoby that averages over a fantasy point per minute this year. So I like Josh Hart, 68 in tournaments quite a bit. I'm not as high on Koulibaly with people returning, so I'm just going to go past that. Then I think this 5K range is quite interesting. You have Clay, 5,600. You have Andrew Wiggins at 54, and you have Quentin Grimes at 51. Andrew Wiggins was getting a lot of ownership earlier today. He still is getting a decent amount, but he is definitively third between those 3, right? It's Clay, it's Grimes. They have better eligibility. They have an unhealthy team. But I kind of like the pivot to Wiggins. First off, this game is elite, right? You already talked about it. Like Cleveland, Golden State is in elite.
230 game total, 4-point spread.
230 game total, 4-point spread. Wiggins coming off 39 minutes, and its theme of this pod for me with the Warriors is minutes, right? Steph Curry, 34 plus minutes in 4 straight games. Andrew Wiggins coming off 39 minutes. When we get to Kuminga, when we get to Draymond, like we saw what Kerr was doing earlier in the year, and he's not doing that anymore, right? Yeah. And Pajemski's out, Gary Payton's out. So we're going to get big minutes from Wiggins. So if you wanted to get a slightly lower owned play off of Dallas, because, let's face it, Clay's going to be really popular. Quentin Grimes is going to be really popular. And I like them. I think that they're great plays. I think Quentin Grimes makes a lot of sense, 5,100. I think Klay Thompson makes a lot of sense. Those guys in the games without Luka and Kyrie, the game, singular. Quentin Grimes started, played 28 minutes. He lost 3 minutes of garbage time, right? So you suspect Quentin Grimes plays 31 minutes in that game. Klay Thompson started, played 29 minutes, did not play the final 6 minutes of the game. So Klay could have played 35 minutes in this game or somewhere in that range, right? Well into the 30s. Both those guys, very good numbers without Kyrie and Luka and Najee. It's also a very skewed sample because they haven't played a lot. Klay Thompson, 42-minute sample, right? 24% usage, just under 1.1 fantasy points per minute. Quentin Grimes has played a little bit more, 21% usage, 1.1 fantasy points per minute.
Yeah.
So I like those guys. I probably actually lean Grimes a little bit over Klay for a little cheaper, but don't sleep on Andrew Wiggins either. He's going to be the third guy in terms of ownership, but arguably in the best game, are both two top 11 teams in terms of pace, more projected points. And if we're going to get anywhere close to 39 Andrew Wiggins minutes again, then I think he's incredibly cheap at 5,400. Plus, over a fantasy point per minute, 17 points per game this year, John. He's 5 for 23 in his last two games. Like, that's not who Andrew Wiggins has been all year long.
No, I agree. Going back to the Chris question here, if it's Cody's actually doubtful to play tonight, Cody Martin. So if that's Caleb Martin, I don't know what Caleb Martin's rotation minutes have been with the Sixers since everybody's been back.
He's playing a lot. Well, you saw firsthand.
Yeah.
You have PTSD. You're trying to block that game out of your memory.
Yeah, well, he got hot that game. I mean,
he's playing a lot of minutes.
Okay. Well, you got Caleb Martin then, I guess, would be the other one there. Still lean coming in, Caleb Martin, I guess, if that's the group. Wade versus Jones Jr. Just my question is why? Why are you going all the way down to Dean Wade and Derek Jones Jr.? Like, we listed off a whole lot of value. What does your lineup look like, Josh? That's the decision you've come to. I guess if I had to pick one, Dean Wade, but I'd rather not. I'd rather not have to go all the way down here. I mean, again, Dean Wade's been fine.
I would say the only thing I can think of in terms of this question is
where is Derek Jones Jr.? What's his price?
He's sub 4K. Yeah. I would say the sub 4K plays on today's slate are less than ideal. So I'm assuming that's jamming in Jokic plus something else, right?
Well, that's what it is, right? It's jamming, two top guys in. There's a Harden and Embiid.
That what Corey just said right there. If you're trying to do something like that, then
I think I still think I lean Dean Wade if I had to pick one, but
I mean, I would just sit. I would say that the one, I shouldn't say problem, but at some point you'd assume the Max Strus Dean Wade minutes will flip, right? Max Strus played 23 minutes last game. Yeah. You'd assume the way that Strus got paid and started last year, he's going to eventually be the guy playing more minutes than Dean Wade. I know there's no Coro, so there's room for both of them. But I guess Dean Wade, but Dean Wade. I'll just say Dean Wade. Let's go to.
It's not none of it's great.
Let's go to power forward. There's nothing else down here. I guess if you wanted to test the THT stuff again here tonight, John, you can. MD, not necessarily. Steph Curry only played 22 minutes the other night. So I know there was a blowout attached, but they made it okay. They got to the end of the road without Seth Curry having to play 25 minutes.
Did it? All right. Mobley and Bridges are your top two healthy power forwards. Bridges is the cover of the show today. Got Chicago, $7,300. Gonna take a whole lot of shots here.
Yeah. Yep. Minutes, no cap on minutes.
57, 47 fantasy points the last two games.
Just is what it is. Just
47 against a really tough matchup against the Thunder.
We were spot on about the ownership. First run, Micic, Bridges being number one and two. That was, not that we're breaking any news, but that has stayed firm all day long. I do think Mobley. I wrote this in the playbook. So Bridges on FanDuel is 6,900. Nice. Has to play. Mobley's $1,200 more on FanDuel. I think there's a opportunity to play Mobley over Bridges on DraftKings, where I don't think that opportunity is on FanDuel.
Okay. PJ Washington, 6,700. Any interest?
He's fine. There's obviously a lot of a big ceiling for PJ. Big opportunity for PJ, I should say.
Sure. Then you get down here again. Kuzma is a good price at $6,400. He's missed a lot of time. Will he have any minutes limit? I guess will be
Yeah, my assumption he's limited.
And then you got obviously MPJ, OG, Draymond, Kuminga all in that same grouping as well.
Yeah. So like, I like Draymond and I like Kuminga. Those would be probably the two guys that I'd go to here that Gold State plays. Draymond at $5,900. As I mentioned, 34 and 35 minutes the last two games. If Draymond makes shots, he has slate breaking upside at 5,900. If he doesn't, if he's playing mid to high 30s, there's still a good ceiling, just given what, the minutes, what he can do peripherally. So I like Draymond. And, what do they do with Kuminga on a nightly basis? The world will never know what's in the mind of Steve Kerr, but it's just nearly impossible to look at the situation and be like, yeah, probably not gonna extend him tonight. Like now we'll say like he needs to be good because they could just simply go big and play Trace Jackson Davis more, right? Because they're not playing him Kuminga at the 3. They're just playing him at the 4 or, and then, they're playing him next to Draymond, next to TJD. So he needs to be effective, but he's given us no reason not to with these big usage rates, big scoring, big everything games. So yeah, I like them. And then hat tip to Denny if people are out in Portland.
I was gonna say Denny was one of our favorites last night if Tony Kamara was ruled out.
And Jeremy Grant. I mean, there's Jeremy Grant on the injury report too. Like there's a lot that could break right for. He just needs one of those guys out. One of those guys, and then he's starting. I mean, and if neither of them sit I like Jeremy Grant at 52. He's really stupid price tag. If there's going to be 40-minute upside for Jeremy Grant.
Sure. Anybody else for value down here? Again, there is the Caleb Martin play. 36, 38, 27, 29 minutes, as you mentioned. Only really good in one of those games.
Yep.
But the minutes are there. That's fine.
Yeah.
I like Patrick Williams still. I mean,
yeah, Patrick Williams is super solid. Doesn't hurt not having Zach LaVine on the floor for Patrick Williams.
Those are 18 shots that are going to go probably just to Kobe White, but like they're going to go. There's going to be opportunities to go elsewhere.
Yeah, he's just been better, right? He's just been better offensively. So I like Patrick Williams. Like very nice $4,200 value play. I would rather get to Patrick Williams than Salon. I'm a little this one's a little tricky, I think, because Salon obviously played all those minutes the other day, and obviously he played a lot of them. He played about 12 first half minutes, and he closed over Josh Green, who ended up playing 40 minutes in the first half. He closed over the first half over Josh Green. But he played like 12 first half minutes and then checked in and played 18 straight, almost 19 straight minutes. If you think Salon's going to play anywhere close to that, then he's in play. But I just don't know what to make of this rotation. Like it's a nightmare. I mean, they closed with Isaiah Wong over Vasily Micic. Mark Williams played 22 minutes. He actually lost minutes at the first half. We'll get to that at center because of fouls. But, what they do with Seth Curry versus Salon matters, I guess, because one of them started and one of them closed. So, if you want to end up getting to Salon, if we end up getting a starting lineup and he's in there, then this conversation changes. I'm a little indifferent while he's coming off the bench, but one of those sub 4K Charlotte pieces could be solid. Seth Curry, Salon, one of those two guys could be okay.
Sure. All right. Center. Nikola Jokic is your highest rostered spend up play of the entire slate with all the value that's there. Can you give anybody a reason not to play him tonight?
It'd be malpractice if anyone's out there telling you not to play Nikola Jokic, or not telling you, because if your lineup builds are different, then your lineup builds are different. But it would be like criminal if someone was like, "Nah, this is a bad matchup for Nikola Jokic." It's like, brother, it's like the Rudy Gobert. Like, I gave you 40. Like, he has.
Still waiting for the updated ownership to kind of go through here. It hasn't actually changed much yet, but maybe we're getting that here momentarily. I'm very curious to see if any Bulls work their way up the ownership land or not here. So we'll see. We'll see if we get anything else. All right, so we got the Joker 12K. Then we talked Towns and Embiid last night, right? Like, they're just ridiculously priced for what their upsides have been lately.
Yep.
If you're looking for reasons not to spend 12K on a center, it's because both Towns and Embiid have given you 60 plus at under 10K here.
Yeah, it's a really strong top tier center. Towns is sub 10K for no reason other than foul trouble. And if, on the off chance that Jalen Brunson doesn't play, you're getting Towns by himself, or Towns, as the guy. That seems very, very good for him. So definitely like him. Definitely love Embiid in tournaments. Anytime Embiid stayed out of foul trouble or not gotten hurt, or not foul trouble, not gotten injured or not gotten ejected, he's been a monster. So, yeah, he's about $1,000 too cheap. Domantas Sabonis, because I see through you saying Sabonis. Yeah, I mean, he's super good too. So any of these 9K centers are super solid.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Again, I mentioned I really like Vuk tonight. I get what you were saying about the minutes, but doesn't some centers only need 30 minutes to hang a big number against Charlotte. So you have that. Zubac, I took the over 12.5 rebounds tonight on Ivica Zubac here. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I wrote up Ivica Zubac today, and I said safe, because he's just safe. That's what he gets. That's what he does for you. He's 7,600, and he's given you 40 plus fantasy points in 5 straight, and he's given you 37 plus in 7 straight. 7 straight double doubles for Zubac against all types of matchups, and the minutes are just he checks out, and then he immediately has to check back in because they don't trust Mo Bamba, and then you get like max minutes from Zubac. So nothing absolutely wrong with him, and that's also why like I'd probably just play Zubac over Vooch. Yeah. I'd probably play Zubac over basically anyone else in this mid tier.
We got some Bulls updates on the ownership here. I have to imagine this is going to go through another round of updates. Kobe White's still under 10%. Patrick Williams all the way up to 23% at 4,200. Again, maybe that's just a value depth play at a position where there isn't a lot there. You have Vuk at 15%, Lonzo at 15%.
It's interesting. Kobe White would become one of the best tournament plays on the board.
Giddy, by the way, is also 17%. So.
Kobe White sub 10% is one of the best GPP plays on the board.
Yep. Under 10% Kobe White as of now. Again, still plenty of time for that to kind of run through. But that's where we're currently looking at.
Jokic, Corey, just to, we've had a couple of Jokic comments here. If you're not comfortable playing Jokic, you can. He's also not playing Portland. And like
he could have met Utah because he went for 59 against Utah last time.
He just because he went for 59 last time doesn't mean he's
Yeah,
you know,
59 and 63, but 63 in just 30 minutes because they blew them out. So
and only 34, and only 34. He's averaging 37 minutes per game
for sure. And listen to the 12K way too much comment. Like, you need 60 fantasy points for 5x. He's 12K because he's giving you 85, 90, 77, 72. Like, he's that much due to the ceiling. He gave you 74 against Cleveland 2 games ago.
Dude, he's averaging 67 fantasy points per game on a per game basis.
So yeah, sure. There's higher levels of expectations to pay off a 12K price tag. There's a larger margin for him to come in under because you need to put up some really ridiculous fantasy numbers to do what he's doing, but he is doing it pretty consistently, which is why we talked about Townsend and Embiid. Like, if you want guys also capable of going for 60, Embiid and Towns should be $1,000 more expensive. They're great values on this slate. Yes. So if you want to spend down, go play Towns or Embiid. They're both great options. Vucevic, as I showed you guys, went for 50 plus in 3 straight games earlier this year. There's no Levine. It's a great matchup against Charlotte. You can certainly go there if you want. So all of that's certainly in play in that upper tier. Jamal Murray and Hardy, or Kobe White and Grimes?
Second pairing.
Kobe White, Grimes. All right, other mid-tier options for us here. I kind of wrongly shut down Walker Kessler last night, and then you're like, well, hold on. Look at what he's done against Denver, and he has dominated. 46.5 fantasy points in 2 games, 30 minutes a night, 17, 13, 4 blocks for Walker Kessler at $6,200. No John Collins. Got to think the minutes are pretty safe here. Do you go back to the Kessler well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with it. I think that this is one of the spots where he is live for, 4 or 5 blocks, just given what Jokic is not known for his athleticism. But he is known, if he gets a shot blocked, he's usually getting it back and putting it in. But yeah, I mean, no John Collins, as you mentioned, the rebounds have been way more consistent this year. The minutes, I would say, have generally been more consistent, especially with Collins being out. So absolutely no issues getting to Walker Kessler. I don't like, it's hard for me to play Kessler as one of my centers because I'm using Jokic. I'm on the Jokic side of things. And then if I'm spending down, Mark Williams is sitting here. And I know he only played the 22 minutes after playing 26. And I had touched on it briefly. If you look at Mark Williams, where he didn't close either half, he picked up in 3 minutes of the second quarter, he picked up 3 fouls and didn't play the final 2 minutes of the first half. So they're right there. You're up to 2:14 or 24 minutes, right? So you're up to 24 minutes there. And then he didn't play the final 6 minutes or 5 minutes of the game. So, if that's competitive, does Mark Williams come back? So I think we're pretty much safe with the Mark Williams minutes being mid-20s as a floor, as long as he stays out of foul trouble. So, I just lean Williams. Obviously, if Sarr is ruled out and Valanciunas is starting, there's 40 fantasy points waiting for us right there. If Derek Lively's ruled out, we have Daniel Gafford at 5K. So that's another thing that we're going to be, waiting until 10 p.m. So as much as I like Walker Kessler, and I'm also aware of how good he's been, I also just think that there's better center plays.
Sure. That's fine too, as well. If there's no Sarr, you have the Valanciunas things mentioned. TJD, Gafford, if there's no Lively. You mentioned all these guys down here for some value. Would there be anybody else at center you'd play?
No.
Okay. Build a lineup time. What do you want to do? Where do you want to start?
I don't know.
Kobe White?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You mentioned you are playing Jokic. Is that where you're at today?
Yep.
All right. So go White. Go White shooting guard.
Corey, I don't disagree on when you're talking about leverage and stuff, getting to someone like Embiid or Towns or Harden. But you can gain leverage, just because you're playing Jokic at, let's say he's 25%. and he's the chalky center. You can get there's leverage. There's ways to get leverage against the field in other areas. So.
What do you think? Small forward util 5,100 to play. Do we have it in us here? Grimes, I guess, would be a spot. Are you comfortable with the lineup that's on the board right now?
Yep.
Okay. So we did Grimes, and then we did a $5,100 util. Can we scoot?
I'm not playing scoot unless there's people out.
Why? There wasn't people out last time, right?
Yes, there very much was.
Kamara, right? Like,
yeah, Kamara and Delano Banton.
You think he loses minutes to Delano Banton? Number 1 overall pick? Number 2 overall pick?
He has. He hasn't been playing this many minutes until people had been out.
All right. I think he also had to miss a lot of time there. All right, so what do you want to do for our last pick here then? Give me a name here, James. We got $5,100 util.
I don't really necessarily like this range. If we're gonna pick someone in this range,
well, we can get off somebody if you want. I mean, again, there's Kobe White. We're playing Jokic. Bridges was someone we liked, so there's limited.
I think this is why no one's playing Kobe White as of right now, because the way the rest construction shakes out, because nobody's moved off Dinwiddie, nobody's moved off Bridges, nobody's moved off Micic.
TJD's in the play, right?
Yeah, you can play. Yeah, he's fine.
All right, $200 left over. Example lineup. Again, got Jokic in your lineup. He's $12K. Dinwiddie, White, Grimes, Patrick Williams, Nikola Jokic, Vasily Micic, Miles Bridges, Trace Jackson Davis. We're going with the low rostered Kobe White without Zach LaVine in the lineup here tonight as part of that Charlotte-Chicago game stack. If you guys have any questions, again, Grande's got his playbook updated. DePrince needs a cheap small forward. DePrince will give you that answer in the Discord. If you guys want your lineup questions answered in the Discord, you got to become a member of the Fantasy Alarm family. Got the 7-day free trial going on. We got our holiday sale going on as well. $19.98 a month for all of 2025. So go sign up today. Jordan Poole officially ruled out for tonight. Alex Sarr active for the Wizards. So there goes your Valanciunas play if you wanted him there. FantasyAlarm.com/holiday. Come join the family. Scan that QR code. We'll be back tomorrow. Talk to you then.